I'm so excited to be here with you, and we met just 2 months ago, maybe?
Yeah, about 2 months ago.
We were at an event for Eric Thomas and Associates, ET.
Hold on. Trying to reconnect. You can still record a video, but it won't be live. We'll let you know if your connection improves. You can start broadcasting live in the same video.
All right, let's... I think I know the problem.
You have a comment from...
The comment says we're not live.
Tricky SDL, love help you did wish. I think that's at Amy.
Oh. All around me.
All right, I think we're connected.
All right, take two.
So you can't explain what's going to happen when you go live. So I'm going to just start over. So live, take two. So hello everyone. My name is Jim Shelvy. I'm the president of Nexcore. I'm here with Amy Rivera, founder of the Ninjas Fighting Lymphedema Foundation. Boy, that's a mouthful to say. And I'm so excited. We met just what, a couple months ago?
About a couple months ago.
Okay, and we met at an event with Eric Thomas, so a lot of inspired entrepreneurs coming together to try and make their business a little bit better. And my business partner, Larry, ended up sitting at a table with you afterwards, and it was so funny because you stood up and you shared just like a little bit of your story. And I was sitting with Lauren, and she goes, Larry's on it. We're going to be meeting with Amy to find out more about the story. There's no chance Larry was going to let that go. And I want to have you give just a little bit of a teaser of, you know, who you are, and without going into a lot of detail, because I know you've got a book coming out, you've got a big tour you're going on, you've got a ton of different things. We're going to be doing an interview with you. You've got an event called Drop Your Skirt or Drop My Skirt, or not my skirt, her skirt.
Drop My Skirt. And yes, we have that coming up in September.
Gotcha. And then I'm sure everybody, do we have an angle view? Sometimes you say things live on the air that you're like, if I could have planned a different way to say that, I would. But do we have a view of Amy's lower half in the camera?
We do on Instagram.
On
Yay!
Instagram?
And then we have a partial on Facebook.
Are we able to just kind of...
Pan
Yeah.
down.
So I want to pan down a little bit. We have phenomenal photographer Kevin Cohn, Sir Kevin, working photography. So, are you zoomed in on the leg?
Mm-hmm.
Story of my life.
Right? All right, now we can get up to, so as Amy would say, I'm up here, Kevin. You're live. We can't edit out your laughter. You just have to roll with these things.
That's okay.
All right, so we're here with Amy, and you've got such an amazing story. When I sat down with you, and I'll go into the hashtags in a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your story and what's going on with your leg.
So, I was born with primary lymphedema, and it was a struggle for my family and friends to understand what was going on because there was no diagnosis for several years. And it led me to find a community once I was finally diagnosed in 2013. It's a big disconnect from 1981 to 2013.
Yeah.
And when I finally was diagnosed, I decided to make a change and either be that voice that I didn't have or continue to hide. So in 2014, I decided to be that voice and make that change. And I started a community called Ninjas Fighting Lymphedema. Little did I know I was going to be welcomed by tens of millions of people who had the same story as I did and no voice.
Wow.
Which led us to the foundation. I knew there was something I needed to do to help other people, not just within St. Louis, not just in Missouri, but worldwide. And I have to say, I call my leg my blessing. And people are like, what do you mean? You have a disease. I have a disease that allows me to vocalize for other people who can't. And that's my mission, and that's really the backstory of who I am, and where I'm going with it is just phenomenal. I can't even describe how excited, scared, and again blessed I am to be able to help other people with the same disease, including children, men, women of all ages and all ethnicities, and just share that bond with them. And that's what keeps me going, because now I don't feel alone anymore. From 1981 to 2013, I was alone. Nobody in my family, none of my friends. I went to school by myself. I was bullied for having this big leg. And so when I finally had a diagnosis, I knew other people had it because there was a name. So that's the backstory of Ninjas Fighting Lymphedema.
So let's go into just a little bit. So I'm going to, if it's okay, just kind of open myself up a little bit while we're talking.
Sure.
Because, when I saw you, I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? I'm thinking knee surgery. I'm thinking all of those things. We've had some of our members here. I remember one time, and I felt myself going, because somebody said to you, oh, bless your heart, you're up and walking, you're a trooper. And I'm like, every freaking day. She's like a Navy SEAL trooper. She's not like your regular trooper.
Yeah.
Every day it's something. But what I had to do is I had to go look up lymphedema because I didn't understand it. And then even when I looked it up, I still kind of didn't really understand it because I'm thinking, I got you. I'm going to suck out all the fluid. You're going to be fine tomorrow. And I think that's the perception that a lot of people have. And when you Google it, the information, as much as there is hard to understand. So one of the things that I challenged you to do when we first got together is figure out a way to explain lymphedema in a way that everyday people can understand. And here's my admission. After reading everything online, I didn't truly understand it until you came with that explanation. So for me, you provide a voice beyond what you think, right? You're not providing a voice to the people that have lymphedema. You're providing an explanation to the people that don't. And that's a huge thing because I put myself in a position where I think I can empathize with just about anyone. And sometimes I try and get on their level. It gets me in trouble, right? But I want to have you do for our audience what you did for me. I want you to help them to understand. So can you share that?
Sure. When I was first diagnosed, I'll say this, it took me probably 3 or 4 times to learn how to spell the word correctly. Seriously. And it took me about a month to say it correctly because I was lost and I was confused too. But what it breaks down to is the reason you can't just stick a needle in there and drain your leg, which is a common thing that people do think about. I've thought about that. It's because your body has a filtering system that cleans your blood. And that filtering system is your lymph nodes, are your lymph nodes. And what they do is they remove the waste from your blood. If you're missing that filtering system or you're missing lymph nodes in any part of your body, there's nowhere for that waste to go. And patients like myself, we have a problem getting rid of it either through, and I'm going to get vulgar here for a second, but you remove lymph waste by sweating and urination. And when we don't have a proper lymphatic system removing the waste from our blood, that waste just sits there in your limb or in your body. And it's very, very small, so you can't just stick a needle in there and drain it. And how I describe the waste is, imagine you have a pond and you empty the pond, but you still can't get the bottom drained and it's still sludge and just muddy, mucky stuff on the bottom of the pond. That's what's sitting in my leg because it just, over the years, it built up just to sit there, and your body cannot remove that on its own. And that's when you develop lymphedema. The swelling is because the waste just continues to grow and not be filtered out your body, and you don't get rid of it.
Yeah, when you explained it, and I will tell you that when I typed in lymphedema on my phone, the spell correct option came up, and there was no suggestions. So it's kind of an unknown disease, and you shared some statistics about this that just unfathomable to me, the widespread impact of lymphedema compared to HIV, AIDS, cancer, malaria, some of these other things that you just like think of that are just so prominent. So what are some of those statistics? Where does lymphedema rank in exposure, or I guess people impacted or affected?
Sure. So lymphedema is over 10 million Americans are affected with it. Over 100 million worldwide. And the reason it is misdiagnosed or dismissed in most cases is because medical professionals weren't trained to learn the lymphatic system during their educational time in college. So all these other diseases, we outnumber ALS, AIDS, Parkinson's, MS,
muscular dystrophy.
And we outnumber that. With all those combined, we're larger than that. And I think the issue is now we need more patients like myself to be that voice so we can be right up there with those diseases. And in order to do that, we have to educate the doctors and the healthcare professionals and society, because it's very dangerous for us if we don't do that.
So I want you for a second to take off your foundation hat.
Okay.
And just be you, because I've gotten a chance to get to know you, and you know, I don't want you to get a big head, but you're pretty awesome when you get a chance to get to know you, and you're very humble about what you've gone through. So here's the question: does it not piss you off that it's so widespread? Yet the first time I heard of it was when you told me. Like, nobody knows about this. Why? I mean, I don't want to get political, but why are people not talking about this if it impacts so many people? Is it because, I mean, I just want your opinion. Is it because if somebody gets a terminal disease, they eventually die, right? Or they overcome it in some way, but this is debilitating, but not deadly.
It can be.
Okay, it can be.
It can be.
But does it not just make you mad that there's not more education out there?
Oh, it angers me. That was one of the leading reasons why I decided to just come forth and use myself as the voice, because, and I'm not going to discredit any other diseases or anything, but we should be right up there too, because not only is it, you know, I've heard doctors say it's a cosmetic issue just because the limb is larger than another. I've had doctors tell me that is not a cosmetic issue. If your lymph system's not working, you can die. That waste is just sitting in your body. Then you can develop infections like cellulitis, which people do die from, and they go in the hospital from. And it really angers me when we have PCPs out there that tell us that we just need a water pill and we have just fluid. It's not fluid. And then when you try to educate them and you try to be your own advocate, you get shut down and you get treated like you're an idiot, and they talk to you like you're an idiot. And I personally look forward to having those conversations with those doctors. I've been fired by 3 PCPs.
So PCP, primary care physician,
Primary care
correct?
physician.
Okay.
I've been fired by 3 of them regarding my lymphedema care, and that is perfectly fine. I have a wonderful doctor now who, even though she didn't understand it completely, she started doing research and educating herself. And that's all we asked.
Do you want to give a shout out to her? Because I think there's probably
Yes.
some people that are wondering. I know someone very close to me. Last night I had a conversation with that person. I said, "You have lymphedema in your leg, I think." It's like so widely misdiagnosed. And her response was, "No, I have this." And I'm like, "Yeah, but how do you know?"
How do you know?
Right? So, and I started thinking of you, and I'm like, Amy's going to smack your doctor. I swear.
I'm telling
So
you.
who's your doctor? Let's give a shout out to someone that took the time.
My doctor's at SSM, and her name is Ann Jacob. Dr. Ann Jacob. And
JACOB.
JACOB. And when I first met with her, she said, "Oh my, what happened?" And I explained to her that I had lymphedema, and she said, no, I've heard of that, but I'm not real familiar with what causes it. She immediately got on her computer right in front of me and started looking it up and just educating herself. And then my next appointment with her, she came to me and gave me printouts of what she found. And she just continued to do that. And that's all we ask for these doctors to do. We're not telling, we're not telling them they're stupid. They're not. They can't help what they don't know. But we just ask that you listen to us and broaden your education a little more and realize that this is a real disease for people. And they really need their help. If they have a right to have this quality of life, they have a right to be diagnosed, and they have a right to be covered under insurance.
So you recently won a court battle regarding...
I haven't made it public yet, so it's about to go public right now.
Well, shucks. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
We can edit that out.
No.
Okay.
No. Don't edit it out.
It's live.
In December of 2016, I had a surgery. And when I had the surgery, they went in to remove some of that waste. The problem with the surgeries are, sometimes it takes more than one time to correct the issue. And the insurance decided to approve the surgery. Let me back up. They approved the first one, the first surgery in December 2016. Then I was set to have another one 6 months later.
And?
The day before surgery, they denied it. They reversed their approval.
Oh.
So then we appealed it, and they approved it. And then when we were working with the letter of agreement for the surgery date, they went back and reversed their approval again. So we had to take it to a federal level. And I was not backing down because I know
Shocker.
my rights. Because they just go off of what insurance tells them. It's not approved. I had to get an attorney or a patient advocate involved to go through my policy and pick it apart to show that it was approved. Not everyone has that resource.
Right.
So I'm going to be that resource for them because I won, and now my surgery is September 25th in California.
What part of California?
I will be in LA. My surgeon...
I will go with you.
You will go with me? I can't wait. My husband's so excited. We have family and friends there. And my surgeon's Dr. Jay Granzo, world-renowned surgeon, and his team is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I'm going to not cry, but I've seen him change so many people's lives by giving them hope. And I communicate with these people on a daily basis on Instagram and Facebook and email and phone. I talk to them. And just to hear that joy in their life again and their voice, it makes it all worth it. I would fight again and again and again just so I can continue to help other people. And I'm really happy that insurance denied my surgery and went through what I went through. Because now that I know I can do it, and once I'm finished, I can help other people do it. So, yeah, we won that battle.
So, and it's funny that you say that because your website is under construction. We just took on that project, and so we've got just a temporary thing up right now. But your website is winourfight.org.
Yeah.
So, but forgive me for saying, because I think that no matter what, the fight is never truly won because it's an ongoing thing. Explain that to the people watching that, if you could.
So, every day when you wake up and you have lymphedema, it's a fight. It's a fight to change your mindset. It's a fight to feel the pain or not. When I wake up, I'm in chronic pain. I'm swollen. Sometimes I don't even want my feet to hit the ground. And I have to beat myself up in a sense, in a positive way, to say, you've got this. People are dependent on you. People need you to get up and do this. Your kids need you. Your friends and family need you. And most of all, it's a fight emotionally, physically. We don't get a break from this. It's with us 24/7, 7 days a week, every minute, every hour of the day. There's not medication that will take the pain away. There's not medication that will take the psychological pain away. And it is a fight every day. But the fight gets a little easier once you accept it and once you learn how to manage it and once you have a community that you can share your journey with. And it makes the fight a whole lot better because, again, you're not doing it on your own anymore. And yeah, the fight will always be there. But this time, like I've always said, you know, one voice can always be muffled. But 1,000 voices, you will hear us coming. And you're not going to muffle us. And that's part of our fight.
I love that. What a great outlook you have. I want to challenge some people that may be watching either live or after this comes back up, because we're going to take the audio from this and we're going to turn it into the first podcast for you, I thought. Is that correct?
That's perfect, yeah.
Okay, so there's going to be some things that we talk about in the podcast, or some things that you talk about. I say we because I'm just honored to be a part of it. But I want to ask you guys to do something. Those that are watching, I want you to tag somebody in the comments that's been affected or impacted by lymphedema. Someone that you suspect may be impacted. So I'll share with you my experience and why I thought of this. So I shared with you last night. It was someone that we were with, and they've had constant swelling on their left leg for years. And it was this, and then it was that, and then it was this, and then it was that. And to be honest with you, I don't know what the hell it is, but like this person has trouble walking. I mean, they struggle every single day, and I'm like, I think you have this. So, but I don't know. I'm not a doctor, and it sounds like there's only one doctor in St. Louis that does know. But people need to be made aware, and there's going to be some really sensitive things. I'm going to bullet point a couple of these in just a second.
Yeah.
And we talked about those earlier. But there's going to be some things that we discussed that are real life impactful things. So make sure you tag somebody. What types of symptoms may somebody be experiencing that they would go, oh, well, that could be lymphedema?
The symptoms are they're hard to describe because it could be, if you have underlying issues that cause other swelling, it just depends. But if you have any, obviously swelling, but if you have pitting, so if you push your finger or something down on the part that's swollen and the indentation stays there, you want to go see the doctor immediately. And another thing is you want to go see a lymphatic therapist, a therapist who is certified to do MLD, and that's manual lymph drainage. Therapists are our lifesavers. I will go to my therapist before I go to a doctor because they're trained in the lymphatic community. They're trained to know what it is. They're trained to learn how to treat it. And, what I didn't say earlier was close to 90% of breast cancer survivors can develop this because of the removal of the lymph nodes in their arm when they develop breast cancer.
Wow.
And so when you're with a situation where you have lymph nodes involved, I would suggest trying to find a lymphatic therapist before surgery or before therapy, chemotherapy, radiation, just to kind of set the tone prior to surgery or anything else, just so you have a point of contact. So when you do go have that done, you immediately see a therapist and you prevent this.
Can it be prevented? Sometimes. Sometimes
it can be prevented. It depends on the person, but you can catch it at there's different lymphedema 0, and that's where you really just don't have a whole lot of swelling, but you have enough to notice something. If you get into therapy and then get a compression garment on, you could probably stay there with, again, lifetime treatment and have a good quality of life. If you wait like I did, and I'm not saying I waited because I wanted to, I just simply didn't know, well then you're spending a lifetime reversing it.
Gotcha. And this surgery that's coming up in September is supposed to almost undo most of what's been done. You'll still have it, but
I'll
it'll
still have it.
undo some of the damage.
And it will definitely take my size of my limb down quite a bit. They are comfortable saying that they can get it down to almost normal. I don't know if that would be just one surgery or two. However, at this point, I'm okay with whatever they get because this is going to sound so crazy, but this is who I am.
It clearly defines you.
It defines me, and not in a negative way. It gives me my purpose. And
yeah, but I think I don't want to over dramatize it, but I think regardless of what purpose it gives you, it gives other people hope.
yes, and
So,
that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what I know of you is I don't think you care as much that it defines you. I think you care more that it gives other people an opportunity to have someone to look to, because you went from 1981 to 2013 with no purpose,
Nothing.
no hope, no point of reference.
And that's a very dark place you can be in. Patients, I've had patients I just talked to someone yesterday from Brazil. Very dark place she's in because no one treats it there. I've talked to someone from Germany. Very dark place they're in. I get messages on a daily basis of what a hero I am from all over the world, and I just cry because they give me that strength to continue doing this. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be as strong as I am. But they encourage me every day. And when I get messages like, I walked outside for the first time in shorts, I'm on cloud 9 for them because I know that freedom they feel. And someone had sent me a picture. I'm wearing compression and I'm going to a wedding. You know, and the things that we take for granted, it's just, it's so rewarding to have that connection with these people because nobody should feel ashamed of who they are or feel ashamed to walk outside their home because of what they look like. And God did this for us for a reason, and I fully accept this role. and I encourage other people to accept theirs so they can start being a voice for others who just can't. But yeah, it doesn't define me. And 2 years ago, I went to the pool for the first time in a bikini, not covered up. Palm sweaty, stomach turning, man.
Did you have the compression on?
I had a compression garment on, and not this, but just a garment, and I went full leg out. Probably.
Hashtag full leg out.
Full leg out. And my children and my husband, they were just like, everyone's staring. I said, it's okay. It's okay. And now everyone still stares, but I'm like, stare and then come ask me what's wrong and I will tell you. And when people do, you would you would be surprised on how many people know someone else who has something like that, like you're just sharing with this person. When I was in Florida for the NLN conference, I was at Walmart and my cousin...
NLN.
National Lymphedema Network Association. When I was there, my cousin goes, does she have lymphedema? About this woman standing in line. I said, yeah, she has, yeah, she does. She looks like it, but I'm sure she might not know because she's in shorts and, no compression or what. Or she may know and just not come to terms with
what she has to
do. And that's a whole nother battle.
We were in Salt Lake City, Utah, and it was right after we had met you. And my wife, who's in the room, she said, those two people have lymphedema.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I didn't see, but sometimes it's right in front of you and you don't even, I didn't notice them.
Yeah.
But since that moment, I've become more aware.
Mm-hmm.
So, fellas, ladies, if you see me do one of these at you, I'm not checking you out. I'm looking for lymphedema because now I look at everybody and I'm like, let me double check.
He's looking at your legs.
Right. Sometimes they go full leg out.
They go full leg out. And reactions like when your son was doing research.
Yes.
The reaction, You know, people don't mean to be mean when they see something. They're just thrown off because you don't see that. Because we hid for so long. We were taught not to share that. My great-great-grandmother, come to find out, had a big leg. So big that she couldn't even wear shoes to church. I just learned this probably about 1.5 years ago.
Wow.
But no one ever talked about it in my family until I decided to come out with it.
The backstory of what you were just talking about, for those that are wondering, Nexcore is a family business, and my 14-year-old son, Nicholas, comes to work with us. And, you know, with anything that you build, I think like the foundation that you're building, the goal is that you can provide a better life for your children and for the generations that follow. So I was really intrigued by this project with you, and I asked Nicholas to do some research. He was in the other room, and I know I'm not going to hurt your feelings,
No.
but for some of the people listening, I want to let you know that Amy and I discussed everything that we were going to talk about, or at least kind of the rules. And I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings that may be impacted or affected by this. But I heard from the other room, 20 plus feet away, I heard, "Oh my gosh! Oh, how gross!" And he wasn't trying to be disrespectful or insensitive. The fact of the matter was, he was learning about something he didn't know, and the information that's out there is grossly inaccurate.
Oh, it is.
It's awful.
It is. There is on Facebook there are some private groups for lymphedema. One of the most inspirational, most positive groups I can tell patients to go to is the Lymphy Strong group. And she is a patient herself, and what she focuses on is those type of reactions. She's a very empowering person, and she empowers other patients. And the thing that we have to learn is when people react to us this way, it's not because they're trying to be mean, it's just they simply don't know, and it's just a reaction of the first time. And as patients, we're already on the defensive side, and we get really angry, and we're angry at everyone in the world, not all of us, but some of us, because, well, I mean, look at it. You know, you would be angry at a certain point when you've had no answers, or you've been shut down so many times, and things like that. And like I said, your son, he's reacting the way I've reacted.
Sure.
I've reacted when I saw someone suffering from another disease. And it's the fact is there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Absolutely. And you're very brave because you put a picture of your leg on your Facebook page. And I don't know that we've set this up, so it's live. It's kind of what happens. So the Ninjas Fighting Lymphedema page is live.
Yes.
But the support group that we're going to the group is not live yet? Or
Not yet.
Okay, so today you have our word. This will go live August 15th by 6 o'clock, and you can join that group. And you have a direct line to Amy and other people in there that could be suffering. So we'll make sure that's live today so that you can get in there. But you put the picture of your leg, and it looks like if it was just the picture of your leg, right, there's no chance it's attached to the rest of the body.
Not at all.
It just looks different, and the swelling is unusual, and there's
bumps.
Yeah, and I don't want to be. This is not meant to be degrading, so I'm walking on.
Don't walk on eggshells. It's my leg.
Not for you, for them, but. So I don't want to complain. All right.
Right.
So, but the point is, it's a little funky.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And people don't understand it. If you see that, I imagine people, like if I had that, I would want to hide it.
We did. I did, right? Yeah. I hid it for so long, I just, a story. I hid it, so I had a corporate America job for a very long time. And
some other jobs.
And some other jobs. Before that.
What do you mean?
Nothing. Gotta read the book.
Read the book. Or watch the Drop the Skirt event.
Or watch the Drop the Skirt event.
No, drop your skirt.
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna drop my skirt. Yeah. So,
it's a free event.
Well,
we'll let you know.
So I worked at this job, and I wore long skirts for a very, very long time. And when I finally did, a woman that I worked with, she talked about, I asked her if she wanted to go swimming with me. And she asked me if it was a public or private pool. And I thought, well, it's in my subdivision, so it's private. I guess private, I don't know. She said to me, quote unquote, fat people don't swim in public pools. And it hurt me so bad that she said that about herself, because I didn't see her that way. That I felt compelled right then and there to share my secret. And I let her know that I had a secret under my skirt. And she started laughing because she thought I was Pentecostal wearing skirts. She didn't realize I was hiding anything. And that's when I realized, if I'm doing so well hiding this, what would I do if I exposed it? And that's when I decided to drop the skirt, and I started wearing pants with my leg wrapped. And the company I worked for never once told me I couldn't do it. They were very supportive. It was something I had to do myself. And from that day forward, I've had nothing but freedom within myself.
Can you just look at the camera and say, I have a secret under my skirt?
I have a secret under my skirt.
We need to edit that for like a sound bite for the drop the skirt tour. I think that's going to be fun. Amy, I think we're going over on time, so I want to start to wrap up. You didn't really get a chance to share much about your family, your husband, family situation. So can you give us like 30, 60 seconds about what your family life is like today?
It's crazy. I have a 6-year-old who can say lymphedema. He goes to all my doctor's appointments. He knows my doctors. He talks about MLD. I have a 17-year-old who is diagnosed with the lipedema component, which is a fatty disease part of the lymphatic issue. I have a 10-year-old who just runs around being a typical 10-year-old. And my husband's very supportive, and he's the CEO of Ninjas Fighting Lymphedema.
He's a little crazy in a good way.
Yeah, I know. I know. He keeps me going, though, and if I didn't have the support that I have, I wouldn't be able to do what I do now.
I want to tell you, when we first sat down and you were sharing your story, I always look at things kind of in a joking way. I look at it and say, well, how would that hashtag, right? So what's the hashtag? So somebody found my notebook the other day.
That whole big list of hashtags?
Yes. And they're like, why do you have hashtag sexual abuse, hashtag bank robbery, hashtag criminal, hashtag the leg? There were all kinds of hashtags related to your story that's going to come out. Hashtag sunburn, hashtag decide, hashtag survivor.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that are going to come out with your book and with your story.
Which is not lymphedema related. That's what a lot of people think my book is, and it's not.
Yeah, so you were a beauty queen. You still are a beauty queen. No, let me past tense you on that. You know, you're a beautiful person, but you're also a beautiful person.
I'm prettier now than I was when I was on the stage. I love my life so much more than I did when I was on the stage. I was trying to run from it. And now I would like to have a TR that says the leg.
The leg. Miss Lim USA.
Hey, that's perfect.
We should start that.
That's
so
perfect.
I'm going to ask everyone to go to winourfight.org. At the bottom, there's an opportunity to subscribe to the newsletter, and we're going to release some information there very, very soon about some upcoming things, including the details on the podcast, the details on a big event coming up. And are you allowed to share some information on that event coming up in, is it March?
It's March. Yes, there is it's a PSA event called Life is Beautiful, and what we do is we want to stop the bullying. We want social acceptance for the entire world, and the Ninjas Fighting Lymphedema Foundation is the face of it, and we will be running that from August to March. And then there will be a huge event in March that we'll release. So we want everyone to be accepted for who they are, not what they look like.
In the podcast that I think we'll announce via subscribers and via Facebook and some other platforms the official start of the podcast. I want to get a confirmation if we're going to talk about. And some of these are sensitive, they're personal, and I want people to recognize that all those weird, challenging, personal questions, situations that you probably have about Amy, she's willing to answer those. So some of those questions include...
I've been asked how I go to the bathroom with my leg wrapped and not pull my pants all the way down. How I'm intimate with my husband with such a large limb. How do I accept the stares in the mall, you know? How do I deal with kids making fun of my children's mother at school? How am I really happy, or am I putting on this persona? I've been asked that, and
I'm sure let's for just a second. I'm sure there's the answer to both of those is yes, right? Some days you're really happy, and some days you're like, I'm gonna faith it till I make it.
Yep, and I do. Some days, you know, especially when I have to go shopping for something and I can't fit into it, I'll be in a dressing room in tears because I can't wear a pair of pants. And then other days I'm on cloud 9 and I'm happy and I love it. So I have both good and bad days still. It's just part of the territory, and that's part of the fight that never ends. You know?
So for those of you that are local in St. Louis, we have an event coming up on September 13th.
Correct.
And what is it called?
Drop the Skirt.
And what time?
At 7 p.m. Doors open at 6:30.
So this is an opportunity where Amy's going to share her story. Because we only have limited capacity, maybe 40 to 50 people can fit in the building where the event is being housed. We're going to make that available first and foremost just to the subscribers of the newsletter. So those of you that sign up to receive communication from and about Amy and the Ninjas Fighting Lymphedema Foundation, you will get the opportunity to reserve your seats first. But we're not going to exclude anyone. Those that can't be there live to ask questions and hear the story, we'll still make sure that content is recorded and out, because honestly, some people may not be able to travel as freely as you can. Is that a fair statement?
It's a very fair statement. There's several who cannot. I'm just a very blessed one that can still, as mobile as I am with it. So
what I want to do now, and I'm going to ask Kevin to really just focus the camera on Amy, and for about the next minute or two, or whatever you feel is appropriate, and then we're just going to fade out and end with you. Somebody right now is hurting, and they're listening to you. You're the answer to a prayer. You're the answer to something, and I don't know what you're going to say now. We didn't prep for this, but I know you're going to say something that they need to hear. And I want you to speak to them, because I know that there's a reason we're doing this today. And somebody is on the edge of something, waiting for a voice. And you've been that voice for so many, and I'm asking you to be that voice one more time today for whoever's listening. And then we'll fade out.
You may be struggling today just to simply get up and be happy with your life. You may be struggling with being stuck somewhere you don't want to be mentally or physically. And I'm here to tell you that you're no longer alone, and you no longer have to fight by yourself. And together with myself and other people in our lymphedema community, or in a community other than lymphedema, you always have people that will help you. And if you are struggling, please reach out to one of us so we can help you, because each and one of us have been there more than once, and sometimes go back there to that very dark place, and we have people that we reach out to. So reach out to us, reach out to me, but my main thing is you're no longer alone.
We still live on Instagram?
Yes.
Awesome. Fantastic.